Hey guys, Mike here. So in today's video, we are going to talk about what the thumbnail said. Chaos at these ports, chaos in the supply chains, and all these bottlenecks that have been forming and getting worse. And I'm going to show you the numbers to actually prove it and what effect that's having on the economy and us as consumers. And so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. That's all I ask. If you get anything out of this, okay? But I will say before we get started, Jerome Powell actually did release their statement today from the Fed meeting, and very quietly, he didn't say this, but it's actually really just kind of hidden in the statement they put out. They're definitely worried about inflation. I can tell you that right now, more than they're letting on, because what they're going to do is they got this thing called the repo program, which some of you guys in the comments have hit me up on it. And that's where it's a tool for the Fed to take liquidity out of the market by allowing the banks to, the easiest way to think about this is to park money with them instead of lending it out to us to put it out in the economy. And so what they did was they raised the ceiling or the amount they can take in from the banks, right? And so that's a red flag to me to say, oh, they're definitely worried about trying to get a hold, control of the inflation, okay? And the commodity prices have come down, but other expenses have not, and some other expenses keep rising. You're gonna see that in here. And so, you know, that's something to think about. I sent out to the members yesterday and today saying, do not be surprised if this market continues to grind higher and higher. And why? Two reasons. One, because of the crazy, insane amount of liquidity in the market still, all the money on the sidelines. And two, it's the only game in town because the Fed keeps buying up all the bonds. And so, you know, stock's about the only way to go, plus a little crypto if you want to do that. So don't be shocked, okay? And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what's going on with the supply chains and stuff, guys. And you can see right here with this chart, guys, this is how many times the word shortage is mentioned in the Federal Reserve's what they call beige book. And you can see the only time it's been higher in my lifetime, well actually before my lifetime actually, was 1973, and that was during some oil crisis, okay? But look how high that is. I mean, look at the increase. It's unbelievable, right? And then you look over here, and this is Resolink, I think is how you pronounce it, but they're kind of like the Palantir of logistics management. They track all this stuff with AI, getting in all the data from all over the world about the supply chain, right? And from January 1st to June 30th, 2021, they sent out 5,425 alerts about potential supply chain disruptions across 39 event categories. Of those potential disruptions, 59% were impactful enough to trigger the creation of a war room, for God's sakes, okay? And here's what you can see. This is one of the ports over there in California. You see the ships, I mean, as far as the eye can see, right? I mean, look at this. This is right here. This is Long Beach. Keep on going. 67 cargo ships now. And I mean, that started off in the 40s. What was it, a month and a half ago or something? And we're up to 67 at one port, like 50 at another. And then another port has like 40 something. And that's just in this country. And understand the reason why that's important, because the California ports, that is 1/3 of our imports come in through there. 1/3, okay? And those ships are sitting out there for over a week at a time now. It used to be maybe 1 or 2 days a year ago, maybe. Now it's over a week, right? And they said that the time just continues to grow. Now, why is this happening, right? That's the important thing to understand here. What's going on, right? Well, the number one reason, employment shortages. Across the world, employment shortages, okay? That's number one. I'm talking about dock workers, ship workers, and more importantly, truck drivers as well, because when that stuff gets unloaded, it's got to get to where it's got to go, and it's also got to be able to get to there, right? And so truck drivers, I know Europe's having a big, I saw a video today, just came out today, big shortage of truck drivers, and that's not something, you can't just go fix that. I can't go jump behind an 18-wheeler and start driving it, right? You got to get certified, get the license, all that stuff, and so it takes time to do that. And so that is one reason, okay? Another big reason right now is the fact that you got shutdowns at ports. Look at what's going on in Vietnam, where they had a major COVID outbreak, had to shut down the port. You got semiconductor shortages happening right now all over Southeast Asia. You got China shutting down ports. And so this right here is a major problem. And you can see with these headlines right here, obviously look at FedEx. This was coming out today. FedEx cuts outlook as labor shortages raise. Right? Toyota cuts annual production target as pandemic hits supply chains. That was 2 weeks ago. And of course, what has all this done? Now it's increased from, let's say it used to take 45 days to get a container from point A to point B. Now it's taking up to 70 days to get that here. So of course, you see the headlines. What's the big headlines? People are shopping for Christmas right now. right? Because I've seen interview after interview from executives, high up executives in different companies saying, we're hoping to have it on the shelves. We don't know. I have a cousin of mine went to Costco the other day, just last week, and he's like sending me footage. He said he couldn't believe, the top shelves were completely empty in the Costco. There was like one level on the floor of supplies going across a few aisles here. Whole aisles missing, which is, if you've been to Costco, it's not the way it's supposed to be, right? They stack them to the roof. And so, this is affecting a lot of different things. But what is this really affecting? Our pocketbooks, right? I don't know if you've noticed the expenses, and the reason why is the freight charges have skyrocketed. And I told you I'd take you in order. This one goes up to February, right? This is container freight costs by the thousands per 40-foot container. Look at that right there going into February from China to North Europe, how much that increased, right? And then the global container index. Look at the increase going on from November into February, right? And then we come over here. This takes us through July 2021. Global freight prices keep rising. Look at that. That was like a stock chart, right? And then look at the amount. This is in US dollars over here. And if you don't believe that one, we'll look at another one here. Look at this one, Shanghai Containerized Freight Index, weekly spot rates, right? And this is from 2009 to July 23rd of this year. This one's going from Shanghai to North America. Look at that. That's a straight up, that's a cliff, right? And then the last one, just to drive the point home, freight rates accelerated in August. So this is August, with the largest annual gain in more than 15 years, up 26.6% in the month of August. And it hadn't been this high since all the way back in 2005. And so obviously, why is this important? Because we're going into the busiest time of the year, right? We got Christmas coming up, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that, right? This is the busy season, right? This is one of the busiest season, or the busiest part for the shipping companies, the truck drivers, trains, everything else. And they've actually tried using more airlines and trucks and everything, but it just doesn't work because of the amount you have to ship, right? And so that's why they have to use these big ships to do this with. And so they really don't have any other choice. And so, this is affecting everything. Do you remember back, I think it was February or March, somewhere in that time frame, they were saying, oh, don't worry about the chip shortage. We're going to be good in the car, sector and stuff. We're going to be good to go by the end of the year. And then if you notice, every month what's happening, every month you're seeing cutbacks. As you can see right here, a major revision for global light vehicle forecast production impacted well into 2022. And look at the numbers, guys. They cut 2021 by 6.2%. This is IHS, by the way. And 2022 by 9.3%. And so let that sink in, guys. We're talking about 10% of 2022's global small car production, right? That is massive. Right? Toyota just said 40% 2022 production decrease is what they're thinking about doing right now. 40%. They're the largest car manufacturer in the world. Okay? You got Volkswagen doing the same thing, talking about this right now. They're fight hand in hand with Toyota. It's been the largest car manufacturer. You've seen GM. They're cutting. They already announced that a couple weeks ago. They're cutting in North America. Their production. Ford's already made their announcements. And so that is big time, because if you're idling plants, I don't know if these people are getting laid off, but those are usually good paying jobs, all right? And so I don't know what they're doing. If you work for one of those companies that works at one of those idle plants, hit us up in the comments, let us know what they're doing, or they're just taking paid leave. I don't know. But that is huge, and that affects a lot of things. Why? Because the supply chain, right? The supply chain. And then, of course, we keep going on lockdown and everything else. Also affects demand, right, for this kind of stuff. And so, that's something to be looking at. So this is something, I can't imagine it going away anytime soon, but also the expenses, they're just going to keep on going, right? Because if they're cutting production, you can guarantee the car prices are going to go up, because they're going to get their money regardless, right? And so, and then looking at the shipping guys, they're licking their chops. They're like, man, Christmas is coming up. Thanksgiving's coming up. These guys got to have their stuff. They're going to pay whatever. I read today they're charging $20,000 per one of those big containers. That's a lot of money per container. It's like, wow, okay, And so one thing you can do, obviously, I've been looking at this. I ain't really made my mind up what I'm going to do. But if you're looking for an investment opportunity, it's something to think about. These stocks are ran up massively. Congratulations to those who own these stocks. But if you look right here, you can see this is year to date on the chart right here. And I just put 4 in here for you. These are like 4 of the top that I could find for you. And Zim actually just went public this year. As you can see, they've been killing it this year. And I think back in November when they really started to run. And so this is something to look at if these are going to go up. or not. And so maybe options, maybe you buy into the stock. It's up to you. You can do your own research. It's also a ETF called BOAT, B-O-A-T, I believe it is, as well. You can look into that. And I tried to look at the charts to see, you know, is there a run up every year during this busiest season? And it was like hit or miss. One year it ran up, next year it either traded sideways or went down. And so there wasn't, you know, a real pattern there in the charts that I could find. And so, you know, but look into it. You know, you never know. But the more importantly, you know, expect your pocketbook to get hit when you go into the store, especially start shopping for Christmas, because, you know, these costs are going to get passed on to us. They always do. They've already been passed them on to us. They're going to continue to pass them on to us. Okay. And so I will keep a close eye on this to see, one, are the ships increasing at those ports? Are we going into the 70s, the 80s or something, the number of ships out there? I'll have to see. If so, I'll let you guys know. And, you know, watch out for quietly the Fed taking liquidity out of the market, because obviously that's one thing that's been going up. But anyway, hope you got some out of this. Hit the like, subscribe button if you did. I really appreciate that, guys. And don't forget, hit that link down the bottom and open you up a BlockFi account where you can buy your Bitcoin and Ethereum, as well as earn interest up to 4.5% on your cryptocurrencies, 7.5% on your stable coins, and open up that cool new Bitcoin credit card they have there where you can earn Bitcoin on every purchase, as well as take out loans on your current cryptocurrencies that you own with BlockFi.